the MLG version, it is always going to be a cross spawn, and we saw what Ruff did on MLG Antigua Shipyard against Hasu last week in that bonus game. And I'm curious to see whether or not Ruff is going to be doing or trying to use that same strategy, or if perhaps Shadow will do a proxy pylon inside his opponent's base as well.
Yeah, I really like this. Not only this map being added to the MLG map pool, but also the forced cross spawns here. I think in so few maps you have these basically forced positions where where your opponent is. I think it allows another basically side of the game to come out where you know exactly where they are without even scouting. Sure, you don't know what they're going to be doing, but it allows these cheeses to be much more effective. And if you had every map where you knew where your opponent was spawning, it wouldn't be as good. The cheese maybe would get a little bit overpowering, as cheese can do sometimes. But every once in a while, it's fun to know exactly where your opponent's going to be. And Ruff didn't send out any sort of early SCV, so I think he might actually play this one quote unquote standard, though not really sure what standard is for him.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what standard is for him. I think last week's his standard matchup on this map was double uncloaked banshees with a repair group of SCVs, six banshees inside the base just destroying stalkers. So I guess you could say that was standard, but I wouldn't call that standard by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, so opening up a little bit normal here. Both players, Shadow getting up his initial gateway. We'll see what his next production building is. Whether he goes for another gateway like Hasu did in that early PVT, or whether he goes for a fast robo, or whether he expands quickly. We do see Ruff getting up his first barracks, and he's actually hiding it. And I think this is something that's really fun to see. And I think this will become more and more normal as the players become more comfortable with this game. And this is basically what Day 9 refers to as hiding something normal. Your opponent's going to come up there with their first probe scout. They're going to see that there's no expansion. They're going to go up into your main. They're going to say, where's the barracks?
Yeah,
And the barracks is in just a normal place.
yeah, exactly. As we now see the SCV of Ruff, it looks like Ruff knows that it is going to be a forced cross spawn, so he's not even bothering to scout the other locations. I don't think Shadow knew, so Shadow scouted counterclockwise. And now, as Shadow's going to look around, he's going to notice that there isn't a barracks inside the base because it is off the beaten path, as you mentioned, hiding in plain sight. As a second barracks is now also hiding in plain sight as well. So really, Shadow's going to look around and go, I smell cheese, but I can't find it.
Yeah, and there is a Marine, so he knows that the barracks is somewhere close because that Marine couldn't make it home that quickly, and now he will be, it looks like, escaping that probe. He might actually spot that barracks, and it looks like Ruff going to take the opportunity to wall off completely here, and we do see that Shadow is going to be able to find that barracks. Yes, he does see it, but he does not know about the proxy barracks here, which is about to finish for Ruff. So maybe he feels like Ruff just is going to be going for some sort of low racks play. He did see that gas, so he probably doesn't think that there's going to be any sort of one racks expand. He knows that some sort of tech is coming.
Yeah, he knows that some sort of tech is coming. There's a probe now at the Zelnaga Tower, and the Stalker is going to try to hunt down that SCV. It will take it down, but he did see the Nexus warping in, and now we are getting another pylon up on the high ground. Only one production building right now for Shadow as he now goes into a second gateway. And this is a rather interesting a development. I'm not quite sure what to make of this.
Yeah, we see a tech lab added to that barracks of Ruff, so he's going to be able to get out his concussive shell, and he's going to have basically surprise marauders. This stalker going to come up here and see all Marines, maybe even see this expansion, and Ruff actually might want to let him in there to see that expansion and then do some sort of pressure off of it. But it looks like he is going to be a little bit more passive, and he actually gave away perhaps the positioning of that barracks. That marauder was able to force that probe off that center Zelnaga tower, but at the same time, I think the probe saw the marauder was coming from the south there, so Shadow is using that stalker to try to find that barracks, and it looks like he's going to find it, but just in time for a marauder to pop out and maybe take on that stalker.
Yeah, and right now we're going to see the concussive shell just completed. Shadow not going to be able to go toe-to-toe. Marines are going to come over as well, and down goes that Stalker. Concussive shell and completing at just the right time. A probe now going to head up the ramp and see that there is going to be a command center being built. So this is some sort of strange two racks expand with proxy barracks and an SCV to build a bunker here, as Ruff may be able to force Shadow back inside and back up that ramp.
He's just on 3 gates at the moment, and it's all Stalkers. They do not fare so well against Marauders, especially with Concussive Shell. We'll see whether this bunker is able to be finished. I think Shadow needs to focus down that SCV, and it looks like he's going to wait a little bit, focusing down the Marines first. Does not want to allow these units to get into the bunker. Ruff not doing a great job of kiting here, but trying to focus down units one at a time. And Shadow with these reinforcements, I think, might be able to take down these forces. But if this bunker finishes and Ruff is able to get inside, that could be huge. That SCV was focused down, and Shadow's going to be able to clean this up, not taking too many losses there, mostly losing Zealots and just a few Stalkers, so didn't even lose too much gas in that exchange, and I think now is going to have enough Stalkers to take down that barracks. So Ruff going to lose this barracks, and right as that tech lab is about to finish the combat shield as well.
Yeah, combat shield now canceled. The barracks now lifting off, trying to get away from the Stalkers. It looks like they will be able to get up onto that high ground. And then perhaps now Ruff needs to change directions just a little bit in order to really get away. And the Stalkers, just so many of them in midfield right now. 7 Stalkers in the early game. There is 1 bunker about to be completed. A second bunker needs to be added. But those Stalkers may be able to simply just charge up that ramp and get in a lot of damage.
Yeah, and back at home, Ruff just has, looks like 2 racks, so he needs to get these bunkers filled, and he needs to try to defend here as CheckSix Shadow is going to have this nice round of, these 7 Stalkers might be able to take on the bunker here without some good repairs, and Ruff doesn't have very good production back at home. He is getting up his 3rd racks back at home as well as a factory, so might be going to that more normal Marine Marauder medevac, but he's going to have a very vulnerable time here, having to make a 3rd bunker now, just so some sort of gateway pressure is not going to bust his front door down.
Yeah, Ruff now getting up that 3rd bunker. You can see that he is slightly behind in terms of overall count. 37 probes compared to 32 SCVs. There are 2 mules in play, and that's the only thing that's really saving Ruff, as he is behind right now by 9 workers. And the Stalkers are going to be able to shoot down this barracks that is trying to return home. More blood for some bad cheese there, as Shadow now going to perhaps be pushing up on this front door even further.
Stim about 3/4 the way done, and Shadow just made an extra 3 gateways. 2 of them are about to finish, so in his main he's got 5 gateways. In his natural he's got 2, so a 7-gate timing here coming out for Shadow. So he's just going to use his superior economy and this proxy pylon in the 3rd of Ruff, and he's just going to flood these the front door of Ruff with these Zealots and the Stalkers. We'll see whether he gets one more round or whether he decides to push in now. He is a little bit supply blocked, so I think he will push in now, and we'll see what this attack is able to do.
Yeah, right now the attack's about to come into play. Shadow with a whole bunch of Zealots and Stalkers now going to try to engage. Marines need to come in. There is no stim as of yet, and this is going to be very, very bad. The Marines are going to try to engage. SCVs coming off the mineral line. They will be able to start repairing one of the bunkers, but it is going to get focused down, and this is not good news, but the Marines just get stim just at the right moment, and almost able to take down another Stalker there, as the SCVs need to stay in the front. 1 Marine on the low ground here. There is a missile turret, but not much is going to happen as the Zealots now come back, refreshed, and ready to go again.
No bunkers here this time for Ruff, so he's going to have to take on all these units just stimming up, and a second stim makes all these Marines in the orange now, so just a few shots from those Stalkers or those Zealots going to take down all these Marines. Shadow doing a nice job. He's focusing down the SCVs that were building these bunkers. He does not want those to finish. He knows he has the advantage right now. He cannot overcommit, but he just needs to do damage when he's able to, getting another round of Zealots and going to try to take on these Marines. He knows that they have no medevac support, just the 1 here, very low energy, so anytime they stim, it's going to be very difficult to recover, and I think Ruff going to lose this one, perhaps pulling off all the SCVs now, so going to try to get a surround on these Stalkers, and once again Shadow doing a nice job pulling back at the right time, not going to take too many losses, focusing down what he can, and he's going to be able to keep up this pressure with his 7 gates.
Yeah, right now Ruff has 1 bunker, but those SCVs definitely need to start repairing. Ruff giving the sad face, knowing that this is not good. He perhaps stimming those Marines there. Are going to once again try to engage. The SCVs were not repairing at all. And I believe with that bunker down now and the sheer number of units that Shadow has inside his opponent's base, Ruff chasing with those SCVs, not good news at all. And it looks like CheckSix will be taking a 3-1 lead in just a moment.
Yeah, interesting that Shadow didn't go for any sort of tech, just a strong 7-gate timing. He didn't even get up his 3rd and 4th gas until about halfway through that attack, so he didn't have any force fields, didn't have any guardian shields, just doing it pretty simple style with the Stalkers and the Zealots. I think a big key was thwarting that initial attack and that initial proxy barracks by Ruff. It really delayed the upgrade for Ruff, and it made it so Ruff didn't have a lot of production back at home. So he didn't have a ton of units to take on these gateway units from Shadow, and not really sure why Ruff is sticking around so long here. It's 91 to 34. And he doesn't have any sort of medevacs to heal up these Marines, so it's going to be over shortly here. And CheckSix Shadow just being very cautious, knows that he has this one won. He's going to get another round or two of units and then just push up here, take down the front door of Ruff.
Yeah, Ruff has, what, 3 supply depots? That is it. Marines do not even have combat shield. That's the reason why they were just so fragile. Marines now able to finally push back here, but CheckSix knows, or Shadow knows, that he's going to be able to come back in with an even larger army in just a moment. Perhaps able to get off a couple quick Zealot kills there. No, the Zealots were able to retreat once more. And if Shadow really wanted to be a little bit on the defensive, he would expand right now, which he is doing at the 6 o'clock location, making sure to get up to 3 bases. He doesn't want to accidentally lose this game, as so many things can go wrong.
And he's got probes and pylons spread all over the place, and I believe that he just saw the medevacs moving into position for Ruff, and this would be the only thing Ruff could do to get back in this one, is do huge damage with these medevac drops. But Shadow's going to be in position immediately with these stalkers, and I like this position by Shadow. No, it's going to allow the medevacs to advance here, and if he focuses down those medevacs, losing a few Marines there, this is going to be GG for Ruff, losing all these Marines. The medevac, 1 shot left. It looks like he's going to escape with just 7 HP, but we do see that Colossus is going to be coming out shortly for Shadow. Just finished that robotics bay, so it's going to be on 3 bases, and with this proxy pylon here, focuses down that medevac and is going to take down the remaining Marines here in the southern portion of the map. And here's the LOL from Shadow. Ruff, being a tryhard here, does not want this one to end, but he knows that it's over.
Yeah, I think he knows that it's over. Shadow just giving a little bit of just laughing a little bit at the game. And I think Shadow is going to have to destroy every one of Ruff's buildings in order to get the victory. He may just be that determined to make this win as difficult as possible. Right now, he's only down to, what, 5? He's down to 5 mineral patches left in his main base. And now it looks like it is going to be an SCV all in. We are at the 17-minute mark right now. We are sitting on 60 probes compared to 20 SCVs. One poor probe going to be able to scout out a very large group of units. And now that we are going into Colossi, I believe, extended thermal lance range about, what, 1/3 of the way completed, those Colossi are going to be able to rip through all of these units ever so quickly.
You know what? Ruff is lifting up and going to the gold, and this worked last week, so maybe he's being a little bit of a try-hard here, but you know, if you stick with it, he knows that miracles can happen after last week's Game 5. So here come the SCVs, and again, as you mentioned, the Colossus doesn't yet have the extended thermal lance, so if these medevacs are able to keep these Marines alive, if these SCVs are able to tank, finally here come the force fields. They're able to do a nice job pinning a lot of these units, but I think they actually work against Shadow. The Zealots not able to get in on these units, and there's the good job and the GG from Ruff, and maybe makes that one a little longer than it needed to be, but nice play coming there from Shadow, defending against that early proxy cheese from Ruff, and then pushing into a nice standard 7-gate timing.